So today we're going to be doing just a simple, maybe a morning stretch routine, or it could be if you're been sitting all day or the kids are making you stressed, a simple routine to help. That never happens. Just a routine to kind of help open the shoulders, the chest, get the spine moving, your hips. I wouldn't say this is Pilates. I maybe say it's pre-Pilates, just some movements to get the body feeling good again without a lot of effort. Okay, so all we need is a mat, or you need a space in your house that you can move your arms and legs out to the side and not hit any furniture or anything. Okay, so go ahead and let's start by lying down on our back and head down on the mat. And if you find that when you're lying down, if it feels like, and that's not Michelle's case here, but if it feels like you're maybe going downhill, like sliding backwards down a hill, that probably means you need a pillow or a small, maybe hand towel folded up to support the head, because you don't ever want to feel like you're sort of going downhill backwards head first. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start with some puppet arms. So we'll kind of get that chest and shoulder area moving. So bring your arms up to the ceiling. Good, let's have the palms face each other. Okay, so we're only going to move one arm at a time. I want you to reach the right arm up to the ceiling and then let the shoulder drop heavy into the mat. Good. And then reach the other arm up and drop it heavy, and keep going with that. So as you reach up and drop, it should feel like a nice stretch between the shoulder blades. And reach up and drop it heavy. Yep. And it's an odd concept to say drop it heavy, but I actually just want you to drop it instead of, because we don't do that a lot in Pilates, just drop. And drop, good. And reach up and drop, good. And reach and drop. And reach and drop and reach and drop. And one more set, right and left. Good. Okay, let's go into paddle arms. And I want you to do this without popping your ribs open. So you're going to reach one arm down to your hip and one arm overhead as far as you can go without letting the ribs pop. Good. Getting a stretch through the armpit, and then switch sides and reach. Good. And reach. Good. And reach. Good. And reach. Keep switching and reaching. Good. You may notice one arm will go to the mat, one arm will not. That's okay. That's not abnormal whatsoever. And switch and reach. Good. And reach. Good. Let's bring both arms up to the ceiling. I want you to bend your elbows and just place your hands on your forearms. You could open it up a little bit, right? Just like that. Good. Now we're going to make some big circles with our shoulders. So I want you to bring your arms down towards your belly button and then go out to the right and try to go over your forehead and then come back through. Good. And I want you to work in the range of motion that feels comfortable in your shoulder. So if you're not ready to come maybe all the way over your forehead, don't go there. None of this is all about pain. It should feel good. It should feel like I always tell people we're oiling up our body like the Tin Man so we don't feel so stiff. Good. And then one more circle in that direction. Now let's reverse it. And then circle. Good. And good. Now, let's roll on to this side looking out at the door. Good. And we're going to do some telescoping arms. So what I want you to do is have your knees bent in that fetal position. And then I think for this, Michelle, we're going to need a little pillow. So I will be stepping off camera to grab that. I'm disappearing. And I'm back in now. All right. So put that under your head. We're using a folded up blanket for our pillow today. And have both arms reach out, fingertips touching. Okay. Now, let's scoot down the mat a little bit because I need you to have room behind you for your arm without hitting the wall. So come down towards me, towards the end here. Yep, there we go. Okay, so bend your knees a little bit more. Good. Okay, so I want you to roll your chest forward so the top fingertip reaches past the bottom. Good. Now you're going to pull back. You're going to start to bend your elbow, glide your arms across your arm, across your chest, and then open up the best you can. Good. And then repeat those steps. So bend in. Good. Slide across your chest. And then reach and kind of roll the chest forward as the bottom hand reaches. Good. And then come back through and open. So this should feel like a nice chest opener. Good. And then come back on through and reach. And then last one. Good. And open. And our goal is that the arm reaching behind her, we're trying to get that onto the floor. That may not happen right away. Good. Okay, now let's come back so the palms are stacked. We're going to go into feel good arm circles. So the goal is that we keep the top hand, those fingertips on the floor as long as possible. So you're going to take the arm, you're going to start to go over your head, make a big circle. Good, open up. Good, pass through, come over your hips, and then just keep going. And so there's a little bit of spinal rotation involved with this. Now, Michelle, see how close you can get those fingertips to the floor. So our goal is they touch the floor. Well, obviously when they come over your hip, they're not going to touch the floor. But as they go over your head, that's our goal. Yes. And then we get that little bit of thoracic rotation in there. Good. Yeah. It feels good in the shoulder and in the back. The whole spine gets a little adjustment here. And open. And our goal is to keep that circling arm as straight as we can. Good. Okay, now once we hit the fingertips, we're going to reverse the circles. So come down, go over your legs, try to get to the floor as soon as you can. And then back around. Good. Do 3 more in that direction. Good. Is that the third one? I think so. Okay, second one. One more. You're like, it just feels good. I want to keep going. And then nice. All right, let's go ahead and have you switch sides so our head's down at this end so we can repeat the same series with the other side. Okay, so we're going to start with our telescoping arm. Good. So we're stacked on our side. Make sure your head is supported. I don't want you to have any strain in your neck while you're doing this. And let's roll forward. The arm reaches past the bottom. Good. Come back through. Bend your elbow across your chest. See if you can get that shoulder blade and that back arm onto the mat, and then repeat that. Come through and then stretch and roll forward. Good. And then bend the elbow. Good, trying to get that full arm and that shoulder blade on the mat. Good. And then back through. Nice. And again. Good. And then rotate open. Good. Good. Let's do one more telescoping arm. I have to say, if you're short on time and maybe someone only has 5 minutes, just doing the telescoping arm and the feel good arm circles it makes your day start off really positive. All right, now let's go into those feel good arm circles. So let's go over the head first because that's how we started on the other side. So Michelle's going to try to keep those fingertips on the floor. Now, you should never force the arm to the floor. If your fingertips aren't touching, that's okay. I want you to work in a range of motion that's comfortable. This is not about no pain, no gain. So don't be surprised if side to side there's a big difference. That's very normal. We do not live our lives evenly, meaning we carry kids on the same side, we carry our groceries on the same side, we don't switch side to side. Good. And then one more. Good. Circle around. Good. And then once we hit the fingertips, we will reverse it. So let's do 4 in this direction. So down, open around, good. And I think that little rotation always feels nice in the spine, right? That's always the tight spot that everyone has. And let's go. This is the third one. We rotate around. Good. Here's the last one. Good. I can see your fingertips touching because you're making a nice little circular pattern in the carpet. And then good. All right. Now Michelle's going to roll onto her back now. And you can keep the pillow or set it off to the side. Again, whatever feels best on your neck. All right. So we're going to do a little work just to get the hips warmed up. So can you straighten your leg and not hit a wall? Good. Perfect. That's what we need. All right. So I'm going to get you straight on the mat. So let me swing your legs this way. There you go. Okay, now move your upper body this direction about an inch. Perfect. Okay, let's start with the knees bent. Just a nice soft bend. Okay, so this is, we're just going to do one leg at a time. So I want you to brush that left leg out on the mat. Good. Now let the femur externally rotate. Try to pull it in an external rotation. So drag the heel, yes, and now fold it back in. Good. And brush out. Straight, parallel, external. Bring it in and fold the knee in. Now the goal is, let's try not to roll off the opposite hip. Good. Open and then in. Good. And then fold it back in. Good. And last one in this direction. Straighten it out. Rotate. Pull it in. And in. Now reverse it. So rotate open first. Press out an external rotation. Let that femur roll back to parallel and drag the heel in. Good. Let's do that again. Rotate open. Press it out. So it almost feels like that you're greasing up the hip socket. Do you feel how just getting that movement in there? Yep. Good. And in. And let's do one last one in that direction. Then we'll do the opposite leg. Good. And press it out. Good. Rotate that whole leg back to parallel, which means the knees to the ceiling and in. All right, let's go ahead and do the opposite leg. So now we're going to press that left leg out. Michelle's going to rotate open to external rotation, pull the knee in so it looks like you're like a half butterfly shape, and then bring it back to parallel and press out. Good. Rotate, bend it in, and back to parallel. Good. And last one in this direction. Out, rotate, pull it in, back to parallel. Good. Now let's reverse it. So open like that little butterfly. Press away so you're in that external rotation. Now rotate that femur, that thigh bone back to parallel and drag the heel in. Good. And again, rotate, out, parallel, drag and pull in. And rotate, press out, good, and in. And last one, rotate, press it out, parallel, and pull it in. Okay, let's do a little knee drop side to side. So just open your arms out to the side and let those knees drop over towards me. So we get that little nice stretch up the side of the body. And then pull your knees back to center and let's go to the opposite side. Stretch there. Good. Now bring your knees into your chest and place your hands on your kneecaps. Try to let your legs be really loose, no tension in the leg. This is like a little low back self massage. So let your arms do the work. So I want you to stir your knees like a pot of soup. So again, we're feeling that head of that thigh bone rotate in that hip socket, but now we're getting a little low back massage. Good. And then reverse your stirring and then go the other way. Yes. Good. Now let's come back to quietness, and then let's do it separated. So you're going to go like this. Yeah. So they open and close. Good. Good. And now let's reverse that. So out and then open and together. So push away. There you go. Let the arms do all the work. Legs are nice and relaxed. Good. And nice. All right. Go ahead and put the feet back on the floor. Let's come up to a kneeling position. We're going to do a little cat-cow. Get some more movement in our spine. So when you set yourself up at home, make sure that your wrist and your shoulder are stacked. That sometimes happens. Okay, so Michelle's wrist and shoulder are stacked, and her hips and her knees. So I'm going to have you bring your knees a little bit forward. Now, if you're someone that this position really bothers your wrist, let me give you some options because I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable here. So an option would be to make a fist and have your palms face each other when you do that. For some people, this works better because the wrist is not bent and it feels better on the wrist. Another option would be to have some small hand weights and hold on to those on the mat. So either one will work. So do you want to stay there or do you want to go back here? Okay, yeah. If you do that though, with the fists down, I would recommend if you have any rings on, remove those. It doesn't feel very good pinching into your skin. Okay, so let's go into a little cat-cow. Right now we're in a nice neutral spine. We're going to tuck the tailbone and roll our spine up to the ceiling. So Michelle's head drops. She's looking at her knees. She's really lifting her spine down. She's going to release the pelvis and go and do a small amount of extension. Good. And now her gaze should be out at the top of our mat. Good. And then she's going to tuck the tailbone and roll up. So we're taking our spine from flexion right now, and then we're going to move into extension. Good. And then let those shoulders relax and drop your head a little bit so the back of the neck is nice and long. There we go. And then again, tuck the tailbone, roll it up. Feel that nice stretch all along here. And then release the pelvis, go into extension. Just don't go into the hyperextension. Good. And then last one. And Michelle's going to tuck her tailbone and roll it on up. Big stretch. Good. And then release. And down. Good. So now she's back where we started. All right, let's tuck our toes under and we're going to pike it up and we're going to do a little treading through our feet to get a nice stretch in the calf. So go ahead and straighten your knees. Good. Now you may not be able to get your heels down right now. Good. And that's okay. So Michelle's pressing away from the mat with her arms. She's not letting her shoulders lift to her ears. She's going to lift this heel high. So come onto the butt, and then this heel we're going to try to press down into the mat. Good. Now we're going to switch. It's like a little treading through the feet, and keep going through that. And switch. Good. And switch. So are you getting a nice stretch in your calf and Achilles tendon? And it just feels good to work through the feet like this. Good. And switch. And switch. Good. And switch. And switch. And switch. And switch. Now let's see if we can press both heels down. Maybe we get a little closer to the mat than we were just a few seconds ago. All right, let's go ahead and walk your hands back to your feet. So walk back. If you have to bend your knees, that's okay. And then I want you to curl all the way on up to standing, like you're standing up against a nice wall. Good. Let's go ahead. Let's face forward on our mat, just in the center. And we'll just finish with a couple roll down. So I want you to stand parallel, hip width apart. Let's bring those arms up. Good. And now curl and round forward. Good. Just let yourself hang. Let the shoulders hang. Let the head hang. No tension. Don't worry if you can't touch the floor or your mat. That's okay. You have a soft bend in the knee. Good. Now let's tuck that tailbone under. You're going to curl on up. Keep a soft bend in your knee as you do that. All the way on up. Good. Head. It's the last thing that stacks up. Let's do 3 big shoulder rolls. So we'll just keep our arms down at our side and we're going to lift the shoulders and roll them back. Good. And for 2 And for 3, let's do one more. Let's go. Yep. And then we're going to go forward for 4 and lift and forward, lift and forward, and 3 and 4 and there. Are we woken up now from our morning routine? There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right.